Jeffrey Epstein, the wealthy financier, is dead. The 66-year-old accused of orchestrating a sex trafficking ring was found non-responsive in his cell on Saturday morning. Authorities say he killed himself while awaiting trial in a New York prison. Epstein had been denied bail, faced up to 45 years behind bars on federal sex trafficking and conspiracy charges unsealed last month. Prosecutors accused him of sexually abusing dozens of underage girls. He had pleaded not guilty. Joining us this morning to talk about a story that's been trending since it broke yesterday morning, attorney Joseph Marrone. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Does it surprise you at all that all the rumors that are coming from this say this might not be a case of suicide?
To some degree, yes. I'm going to tell you why. Here's the interesting thing. He attempted to commit suicide about 2 weeks ago. I think it was around July 23rd. And then he was put in special housing units. Somehow on the 29th, he was taken off a suicide watch, which really, nobody knows why. And the only way you can get off a suicide watch is you need approval from the warden and the prison psychologist. Nobody knows if that happened. So now he's off a suicide watch, which really a case of this magnitude. How does this happen? And they allow him now to potentially commit suicide if he committed suicide, and that's the big question.
I was going to say there are some rumors that report that you just talked about where he had bruises on his neck a few weeks ago, where he says that he got attacked and it wasn't necessarily suicide. So there's a lot of questions coming from inside the jail.
Well, yeah, they said that possibly he was assaulted, but even though, I mean, it looked more like a suicide, with the magnitude and implications of this case, he's going to be on high watch, and the fact he actually put him on suicide watch, you just can't take someone off a suicide watch. There has to be reasons why. And what were the reasons? And they have to be approved, again, by the warden and a doctor within. So nobody knows how that even happened. So now but he was still sitting in the special housing unit, which is a really, really difficult place. They call it the shoe or the hole is the term. So there's not much movement and there's continuous watch. So how did he actually pull this off, right? So it's difficult to even kill yourself, even without constant watch. But somehow he did it.
He managed to. I was going to ask you that because you said how was he able to pull it off? And in this section of the jail, I think I read yesterday, it's the same section that El Chapo was held in at some point. Do you think there's cameras that were rolling inside his cell or anywhere near that area?
Well, there are cameras, right? But there's some rumors out there now that the cameras somehow weren't functioning. So it kind of even heightens the speculation even farther. So, and then there's some information that a guard was saying that a mysterious van came in the night of the suicide. Now, even the President of the United States is tweeting out, you know, conspiracy rumors. But we're going to see a full-range investigation. What's going to happen here is the Attorney General will dispatch the Inspector General here, and he will have the Bureau of Prisons look into what went on. Also, the FBI has launched an investigation. So there will be a lot of information uncovered. Question is what really happened. Ultimately, he may have just killed himself, but to let that happen with all these potential victims really is an injustice to them, and that's really going to be the bigger outcry. And you've seen that yesterday with a lot of not only the victims' attorneys coming out saying it. There was a lot of politicians making out on Twitter making statements, and they were appalled by what went on to allow the system to fail us.
What happens now that he's dead and these cases are still kind of in limbo?
Well, the case against him is over, but the investigation is going to continue. Remember, he was indicted not only on sex trafficking, but on conspiracy. So they're going after others. And the person who's in the crosshairs is his former girlfriend, and they label her as an enabler. I think is Ghislaine Maxwell, right? She's the one with the biggest problem. Now, she was sued in a civil case. That's where all these records came out. She took the fifth, right?
On Friday when all those records were released?
Well, beforehand, in the civil investigation.
Gotcha.
So, you know, the interesting thing there is going to be is they're coming after her. They're also going to go after all the other enablers, the bottom line people that either worked for him, whether it was housekeepers, secretaries, and they're going to press them and say, listen, you're going to get indicted, you're going to go to jail for a long time unless you cooperate, because they're going to look to put pressure on probably Miss Maxwell. The other thing in this case is interesting is the civil part of it, right? There's all pending lawsuits. Epstein, very wealthy guy, worth well over half like $500 million. So the civil suits are coming.
Goodness, it's a lot. It's hard to keep up with all the moving parts and pieces.
Yeah, but it's an interesting story. It's almost like Hollywood written.
It is.
You know, the inside conspiracy.
I know.
So that's what everybody's looking at. And then, you know, obviously, again, Trump tweeting this morning that the Clintons were behind it. So that's always makes it interesting.
So many hashtags, so many theories. Joseph, thank you.
Always thank you.